Today is, let's see, today is Wednesday, the 19th of November. So glad that you joined us. Okay, so I learned something. So the last couple of days, my camera on my phone hasn't been working very well. And so I had to do a day yesterday where I was talking to so my computer's here. I have it sort of tilted to the side while I record this with my phone right here. And so yesterday it just wouldn't turn on. The camera on my phone wouldn't connect to my computer, and so I had to record from my, webcam on my iMac, and I learned something really good. So you never know when something goes bad, maybe it's you get to learn something. I rewatched yesterday's video, and even though the lighting wasn't great, I was like I came away thinking, "Man, I had a lot of great energy." And then I watched a video which I thought probably looked a lot better from last week. And I was, recording on my phone with this camera, which looked a lot better. Like the lighting looked better. But my energy was like so low. It was like super depressing. I almost looked angry, which I wasn't angry, but it was like, I kind of looked like, hi, so yeah, so we're going to read cards. That's not me, but apparently I don't know, maybe I was thinking nobody's watching, but, I guess there's maybe maybe I'm like the true sense of a narcissist where, like Narcissus, she was just looking, I guess, or I must have been a man, I need to know my Greek mythology, but apparently, I liked being able to see myself so much better. I actually was getting positive feedback just from seeing myself on the screen because the camera on my computer is just, a couple inches away from the monitor which is over here. So if I look at the monitor, I that's distracting to you, so I should be looking right here in the camera. But there was something weird happening where apparently I enjoy seeing myself. I'm like a baby in a mirror or something because my energy was so much higher. I don't know what that says about me, and you can think what you will, but I learned from that experience that okay, you got to take your energy up just a couple notches. You don't want to look like you don't want to be there. And I think in those other videos I looked like I didn't want to be there. But I want to be here. It is, you know, it's a learning experience, and I'm I'm excited to be here for anyone who finds me, and I just want you to have a positive experience. I want your day to be a little bit better. But I don't know how I could do that if I'm like kind of grumpy. It was so weird because I don't think of myself as a grumpy person. Anyway, today I am not drinking tea. I'm actually drinking this protein shake, protein smoothie, and I'm just trying to get my 30 grams of protein every morning because that's apparently a good goal. And and yeah, today, oh, you know what? Okay, so today what this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this idea that yesterday came to me. It's been coming to me gradually, but it's this idea. I would say I have 3 things that feel like my white whale, okay? I want to weigh a different weight. I mean, they've been the white whale in my life for the past 10 years. Some of them more. So for the past 10 years I wanted to be my ideal size and not just go on a diet that works and then be the size I want to be. I'd like to be naturally thin so that I don't have to think about it and so that I don't have to yo-yo diet and so that I don't have to like commit to a lifestyle for the rest of my life. I There are people in the world who are naturally thin. I'd like to be one of those people. The other one is I'd like to have a great career that I love that brings me joy and that I feel like is the right fit for me. The third thing is I'd like to be financially solvent, secure, and abundant. So, those three things. I would imagine most people have at least one or two of those things that seems to elude them throughout their lives. They can watch all sorts of videos about manifesting, and they can go to therapy, and they can get a new job, or they can try new things, or they can, I don't know, make all sorts of, try different diets or try different jobs, whatever. Those Out of those 3 things, I would imagine that most people feel eluded by at least one. Maybe not, maybe for you it's something else. I certainly know plenty of naturally, uh, you know, people who are their natural weight, who look great, have a great, um, have a great house, and they have plenty of money, and maybe they also have a great career. But maybe for them, the thing that eludes them is like a great relationship or with somebody that they love, or maybe it's a great relationship with somebody else. Anyway, the point is there are often a few big things that feel kind of like a block, or it doesn't matter what you do, it seems like this one thing just doesn't seem to resolve itself or change, or you feel stuck in something kind of big. And maybe it's not even that big, but we've created it to be big because we've created a block around it. But today in the last couple of days, I've been asking myself, what are the biggest block? So, it people, I keep saying people. Let's slow down. Okay. How do I want to say this? It's understood, or there's an idea out there that if we explore the negative beliefs or the beliefs that are surrounding this thing that keeps eluding us, if we explore those beliefs and discover that they're just silly, they don't hold any weight, or we got them from someone else, or it's just not a valid not a valid belief, or it's not logical or something like that. If we Once we discover that belief, and then we just release it, and then suddenly, these things in our life will get fixed or something. Or, people Jen Sincero talks about this idea, like she just couldn't seem to get past making $100,000 a year. I might be conflating her story with Regan Hillier's, but anyway, she was having trouble making the amount of money she wanted to make. And she realized it was because she had this belief that it would make her dad sad if she made more money. And because he always gave her 20 bucks, and she had this image of him in her head where he was just sad because he couldn't be there for his daughter. But then she realized that was just a belief she had. It wasn't real. And now that she makes lots of money, her dad still gives her 20 bucks because it makes him happy. So sometimes we have this belief so when she had that belief and she kind of confronted it, she realized, "Oh, this is not even real. It's totally unfounded. I can release this." So she did, and then suddenly she broke through that glass ceiling and made plenty of money. Regan Hillier, similar story. She thought of her dad. She couldn't ever seem to break past the $100,000 a year. And once she realized that that's all her dad ever made in a year, she realized that, oh, she was just holding herself back because she didn't want to exceed her father's achievements. Whatever it may be, some people have beliefs like about their weight, like they believe that they won't fit in anymore with their family if they get thin and everybody else is overweight, on and on. You get the idea. So there can be all sorts of beliefs, but I realized I was doing all these things. I've been learning all like reading all kinds of things and watching videos about manifestation. And I've been doing a lot of inner work. I've been going to therapy. I've been doing IFS therapy, the internal family systems. I have been exploring these negative beliefs or limiting beliefs a lot. Especially this last year, I've really focused on it. And I'm still kind of going, what is going on? We'll take, for example, um, the size of my body. I don't want to make it a big thing. I would rather make it a non-issue. That's why I would like to be naturally thin because I don't want it to be an issue for me. Especially if I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I don't want my weight always fluctuating. I don't know. It, I think that there are other things to be thinking about, and that's not one of them. I think it's great to think about food and health and things like that, but anyway, I don't want the drama of that anymore. But I realized that if we're creating our own reality, and if to a certain degree it's true that what we say is what we see, because, if you lean into the woo woo side of it, it's what we create is what we see. And so it's like we're manifesting it. But even in the more scientifically based schools of thought, there is this idea of confirmation bias. If I tell you to look at my shelf of books over here, let's see. And I say, okay, look at all the orange books for about 10 seconds. And then I stand in front of it and then I say, okay, what was the book that was pink? You might not know because you were focused on the orange book. You probably can't see what the books are anyway because they're far away and out of focus, but you get what I mean. We tend to see things and then create our reality around what we see, or those are the suggestions that we give to ourselves all the time. There's also this idea that we're constantly hypnotizing ourselves. The world is hypnotizing. We're always being hypnotized. Like there's always suggestion being placed on us, and sometimes we take it and sometimes we don't. But the most powerful suggestion is the suggestion we keep saying over and over to ourselves or thinking over and over to ourselves. And one of the things that I realized that I was saying over and over to myself, I realized it yesterday, is I keep saying, nothing works for me. I try everything and nothing works. In the words of Bashar, then the universe is going to support you in that theory because the universe is unconditionally supportive. So it will unconditionally support your view of nothing works for me. And so specifically, I've been telling myself that nothing works for me for losing weight and nothing works for me for um, finding the career that I want. And I think that the biggest impediment to me having what I want is me believing that I'm not the thing that I want and believing that I've tried everything and nothing works, and to just keep saying that over and over again. So, so now I think a lot of times we think, okay, great. So now I'll just keep saying, I'm I'm thin and beautiful. I'm thin and beautiful. I don't know that that's going to work too well because I've tried that too, but maybe it will. See, there I go again saying, oh, that's not going to work. But for me, I think I needed something a little bit more scientifically based about this idea. So yesterday or the other day, I was thinking about this study that I heard about, which was so cool. I think I need to, yeah. So the professor's name is Ellen Langer, and she did this study. mm, I want to say, well, it was several years ago. maybe 20 years ago, maybe longer. Maybe it was at the beginning of her career. Ah, all right. So, what she did was she wanted to explore the power of suggestion, and it's called, oh, I think it's like the clock. Oh, all right, fine. I will go over here and look it up again. Langer clock. Oh, it's called the counterclockwise study. So she took a group of older men and she brought them to a retreat where they were um they were all like immersed. They basically immersed them in this experience where it seemed like everything was 20 years earlier. So they put only magazines out that were 20 years old. They only all the TV shows that they were watching were 20 years old. Everything, like the clothes they were wearing, everything was an immersive experience. And just by them spending a week there, all of their most of their biomarkers for age like went backwards. So their eyesight improved, their oxygen levels improved, like their heart health improved, all those things. Then she did so there was that study. Then there's this other study that she did a little bit more recently, and because she was going to a lot of hotels. Maybe I've told this story. I don't know. If I have, maybe you haven't seen that other video yet. So what she was noticing is that these women, she was at these hotels and she saw these maids working hard, like they were fluffing sheets or fluffing pillows and snapping sheets and on their feet all day. And she's like, why are these women like overweight and why do they look tired and sick? And she's like, they're exercising all day. They're doing all the things that should make them healthy, or at least many of the things that make them healthy. So she took 44. I think it was a group of 88. So she took 44 and she did nothing with those control group. And then with the other 44, she gave them a class and taught them that what they were doing and what they were doing was so healthy and why it was so healthy. You know, she talked about how standing a lot is actually good for you and how um doing all that walking is good for you and doing all that upper body stuff is really good for you. And a month later, those women's weight had decreased, their heart health had improved, all kinds of things changed simply because they were told and they understood that what they were doing was actually good for them. Their behavior didn't change. It just, you know, but then who knows exactly what was it their mind that changed things? Was it um you know was it yeah their mind obviously was part of it, and just through that power of suggestion things changed. I don't know what all the mechanics are, and I don't exactly know how it works and why that happened, but I will say this, that I've decided to take a page out of that book and apply it to myself. So rather than just saying, "Oh, nothing works," I've committed to starting to keep a running list and reading it every day and being aware of it every day and basically showing myself, "No, I do all the things that a naturally thin person does. There's no reason I shouldn't be." And just and remind myself that I actually am being the person that I want to become. I think sometimes we're not the person we want to become because we're not acting like the person we want to become. But sometimes we are acting like the person we want to become, but we don't believe it's going to work. But perhaps if we start to believe it's going to work, then we'll start to see results. So I will let you know how that works. And so starting today, it's November 19th. We'll check back about that at the beginning of January and see if it's changed anything. Okay. Now, um, let's pull cards. Oh gosh, this is one of those waxed beans moments on my channel. Waxed Beans references the episode of Seinfeld when Kramer finds the Merv Griffin studio, puts it in his, like, he finds it in a dumpster, moves it all in, and puts it in his apartment. And then every time he has a friend over, or anytime somebody stops by at his apartment, they become a guest on the Kramer show. And at one point, he's basically having a nonstop show at his house with no audience. And then And then one day he has Newman over and it looks like they've been talking a while on this couch with the lights and the music and then they're talking about waxed beans and when you take the labels off of the generic brand, it doesn't taste once you take the label off, you can't tell a difference. And then Kramer says, "We need more material." And all this dead space on the air on a live show makes me think of that. I'm going to pull from this one because it is still technically fall. This is the Mabon Oracle from Seasons of the Witch. And I'm going to, let's see if there's a question for the tarot that I would like to ask. But it's not the tarot today. This is an oracle deck, which is a little bit different. Maybe one of these days. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Today we're going to do present moment from here. And then we're going to do the roots and then the next steps from from the Star Maiden Tarot, which is one of my favorites, as you can tell from watching any of my videos. So the question today is, show me how I can best be the person I want to become and how I can be that person now. Okay. We were just talking about that. So let's see what we find. And this is an exercise in seeing the universe reflect back to us what we've already said we believe in, just like we were talking about. Or it's also an exercise in confirmation bias. What we were talking about, we're going to seek that out in the cards that we see. Is one magic and one's not magic? I don't know. You tell me. You can look at it different ways. So please show me how to right now, with the best way to be who I want to become right now. Or how to right now become the version of myself I want to be. Something like that. All right. So we're going to cut the deck where it feels right. Oh, actually, it felt right to go. It felt right to do it again. Okay. So this one is campfire. Ooh, I love that. That's reminding me of something. What was it? Oh gosh. That's making me think of something. I will say this, but I swear I heard something the other day that is reminding me. When I do internal family systems, a lot of times I see the little versions of me or you know, the little people in my family all gathered around a campfire. So that's cool. And then we'll pull from this deck for roots and for next steps. So again, I'm going to be thinking that question and that ask of the cards while I'm shuffling. Please show me the version of how to become the version of myself I want to become starting now, like in this now. Sometimes when the deck gets unruly and a card falls out, when my sister pulls cards, then that's the card she needs to pull. But that didn't happen today. Okay. Okay. So for Roots, we have 4 of Pentacles. She's got an interesting outfit on. She's wearing coins. And then 9 of Cups for next steps. Okay. I'm going to put these back. And then we will explore what everything means. All right, first, I'm going to be looking at the campfire. Look at that. There's like a wolf. The smoke is like a wolf circling the moon on that one. And there's 4 friends around the campfire. And it says, do not fear opening your mouth and allowing your tongue to speak. Interesting. Okay. Sometimes I feel like these are just all for me. But I hope that you find meaning in them too. If you're on this video and you've made it this far, guess what? This can be for you too. Or if it doesn't feel like it serves you, you can always toss it out and it means nothing. You get to choose always. Have you ever heard, like, anytime you hear somebody that's doing hypnosis, or a lot of times they will always say, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, which means you always have the choice in whatever it is. So for, like, you can hear the suggestion. You can choose to take it or not take it. You are the sovereign power of your own life and your own choices. Okay, campfire. This is number 6. Keywords, telling stories, seek advice from others, and moral of the story. That is so interesting. Yesterday, I had this sort of profound, like, feeling when I was listening to someone telling a story, and they said it in a way that just felt very campfire-y, very much like kind of this primal, like this kind of like storytelling from long, long ago, like thousands of years ago, and how, we're primed for story. We're wired for story. And the person telling the story didn't start it with once upon a time, but it felt like that. And it just felt really powerful. So I did what my goal is, and I went home and I wrote. So that was good. All right. I'm going to read this. Again, do not fear opening your mouth and allowing your tongue to speak. Your higher self chose this card because it may be time to seek out the help of others. You might find unexpected support, knowledge, or inspiration from someone who is more experienced and has a lot more stories to tell. Or you may find there are people who have indeed walked in your shoes. Even the most consistently successful people have experienced failure and challenges. Being willing to listen to those who have come before you can help build your strength and give you hope that you can also overcome the obstacles you are facing. Campfire could also mean an older mentor might be available to you now or will enter your life very soon. Welcome their advice and ask as many questions as you can. There may be they may they may be able to offer a great deal of assistance if you're willing to approach them with humility and listen to what they have to say. This card could also mean you may find yourself in a mentor position that someone else has sought you out, has sought out your knowledge and guidance. If this is the case, if this is the case, trust that others see in you what you see in your own heroes. Hmm. Be generous with your expertise and be the kind of person who offers the same motivation you'd hope to receive for yourself. Interesting. Now, see, that's an example where I saw something different in the cards and it meant something different to me. And now, as I read the guidebook, that's offering me another layer to what I already saw there. So, to me, that means keep telling my own stories. But now, when it's talking about seeking advice from others, that is something that sometimes I back away because I spent so much of my time as a younger person asking everybody else what I should do with my life, which of course wasn't really their business. But now that I have a better idea of what I want to do with my life, I think I've almost repelled other people's advice. So I'm going to look for I'm going to look for things that pop up in my life where this could be true. In fact, I have something in my mind right now that uh, I will be looking for. There was somebody that's in a field that I want to be a part of. And I know someone who knows, so I know somebody who knows somebody who's in the field that I'm interested in. And that very same person who knows the other somebody was asking me to help them. So that might be I'm ready and eager to see that unfold. And I don't know if it's going to be the same thing that this is talking about, but I'm going to be looking for that. Now, okay, so for roots, we have 4 of Pentacles. And I'm not as familiar with this card, but it's a lady in her birthday suit holding some coins. And I don't know let's look at what the normal Rider Waite says about that one. So 4 of Pentacles looks like this. It's a guy with coins balanced and holding, so pretty similar. And let's see. Uh, if you look at this figure, he seems to be holding on to his money as tightly as possible. Is he afraid of losing it? If so, he may choose to hoard his wealth like Scrooge McDuck. That's a good image. This card can sometimes symbolize greed, selfishness, or possessiveness. But there is another meaning here as well: protection. The figure holds a pentacle directly over his heart chakra, which can represent protecting your heart in order to feel safe and secure. We all need boundaries, but how much protection is too much? I often talk about protection as something we may not need to um, freak out about. It's not something that the more we're sort of open and trusting the universe or God, and we trust that we are protected already, then we don't have to spend all of our energy trying to protect ourselves, because that's usually a fear-based energy. In my vantage point and from what I've heard from people that I like to follow, but it's always, once again, it's up to you and what you believe. Okay, I've got to stay focused and find this. Okay. So the 4 of Pentacles is a card about stability and foundation. You've worked hard to build up a firm foundation for you and your loved ones, and it hasn't been easy. You may also be looking for more stability in your life, especially around your finances. Well, that's for sure for me. Enjoy the material aspects of life and spend your money wisely, but also keep your future in mind. Okay, so this one, very interestingly, I would say kind of has a split meaning I think this is one of those cards that for you, it's going to have to do with what you feel. Does it feel like, is it an invitation to ask if you're too protective or if you're not protecting what you have enough? Or is it an invitation to look at your look at your finances? Do you need more attention to them? I love this idea that Regan Hillier talks about, where she talks about this concept of like dating money. Like that basically you're in a relationship with money. We all are. And so how much are we ignoring it? And maybe she's trying to seduce money to come more into her life. Let's see. So here, I'll show you this one again. Yeah, he does kind of look like he's hoarding it and sort of trying to be safe. I think sometimes for us we worry about money and then we don't spend it, or we we worry that there's not going to be enough, so then we're afraid to give it or share it. But I do actually like that concept of, maybe not, she's not being sexual, but she's out there in the starlight holding the money. Is she trying to invite in a stronger relationship with money? Is she is she open? She doesn't look like she's very protected. I mean, if she were protected, like if she were worried about being protected, she'd be wearing clothes. So she's very vulnerable, and she's got the coins all around her. And maybe she is trying to create a new relationship with the money. And I like that idea. And it's people worry about loving money and it being wrong. It Money just helps us to be more of who we are, and we all need it to survive in this world. And what if we could, like, the abundance that we receive, it's all from source or creation or God. Like, God is the source of all we have. And so when we love and appreciate what we've been given, we're given more. So I'm going to look back on that again and just what I want to see what that says again. Okay. Yeah, this one's pretty vague. It's like enjoy material aspects of your life and spend your money wisely, but keep your future in mind. Yeah, that's kind of weak as far as explanation. So, I don't know, consider that. Then, for next steps, now let's keep in mind the question that we asked originally, which was, please show me how to become the person I want to become starting now, like in this now moment. So, what are you seeing in there? This is the present moment. Are you telling stories? Who are the mentors in your life who are coming forward? And then finally, the cups. I'm missing them. Here we go. 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups, the wish card, is an indicator that you are receiving all that you have been wanting, or it is a sign that you will receive it soon. This card signifies feelings of appreciation, contentment, joy, abundance, and prosperity in all aspects of life. You are growing and flourishing. It's time to celebrate and express your gratitude. I love that. Yay. Okay, that makes me happy. Look at that happy little king there. And are you guys curious? I'll just show you the normal Rider Waite one to compare. Oops, nope. In different books, they put them in different orders. Okay, 9 of Cups. Pretty much the same. Very similar. Look at that. Extremely similar. Happy guy. Lots of cups floating over his head or above him on this structure of some kind. Okay. What I love about that is the thing that I have been trying to work on. Like when I was talking about my list and trying to remember all the things that I have been doing, all the things that I have, but it's just I haven't believed that what I'm doing is working. And now I'm saying, but what if I did believe that everything was working? And let me write a list of all the things that I do that should be working. And now I'm going to start believing that they're working. So it's that. And then in terms of finances, I've been starting a practice. I've been re-implementing a practice of I don't know why I just yawned. I'm so sorry. Live podcasts. Okay. It's so appreciation. I've been re-implementing like a practice of really appreciating what I already have and recognizing all the abundance that I really have and recognizing all the things that I've done to have the kind of body I want and all the things I've been doing to have the career I want, all the things that I've been having, all the things I've been doing to have the finances I want. Like maybe I keep saying, maybe the only thing that's holding me back is that I keep saying nothing's working. What if I started saying, yeah, lots of things are working? And what if I keep saying, I've been putting a lot of work in and I've been doing what I need to do. It's only logical that the things are going to start coming into my life the way that I've asked for them. Sometimes when we're basically asking all the time, but we often don't receive because we keep seeing that it's not there, which is not really receiving. It's just noticing what's not there. But if we notice what's there and appreciate what's already here, then we're more in a vibration of the things that we want manifest. I hope that makes sense. So, the next steps are lots and lots of appreciation and seek and be ready to talk to mentors. And, obviously in as non-anxious a way as you can. Trust yourself when you're talking to mentors. It's not like you have to listen to all their advice. Sometimes their advice might be the perfect thing to hear so that you can do the opposite of what they've said because it gives you clarity on what you really need to do. But yeah, be open to mentors. And then this one for the past, for the roots, it just shows, you know, maybe you've been protective, maybe you've been kind of hoarding some of your energy, some of your resources. Maybe it's time to let go and trust that the relationship you have with source and creation and all that is just what it needs to be, and you are unconditionally loved and supported by the universe. So decide what kind of life you want to live and live that life and shine bright. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll talk tomorrow.